Hello and welcome everyone, I am Madals and welcome to Game 3 of this best of 3 from the ZvP Cup. It is between CuteZerg, the red Protoss player in the lower left position, and Revival, the blue Zerg in the top right. The map is Cloud Kingdom. Boom. Game 3 of a best of 3. If you'd asked me to predict before I started watching these games, I would have said 2-0 Revival straight away, because Revival is epic and I'd never heard of someone called CuteZerg. CuteZerg in Game 2 though, he came back fighting. He was like, hey, you want to Overlord drop me with roaches and lings? Guess what? I'm going to make a couple of Templar and you have no detection, so watch this damage output go through the roof. And indeed it did. Through the roof it went, all the way up into the upper stratosphere. And from there, CuteZerg was like, I'm going to win. And when he did, Game 1, Revival, he put it all out with his Roach Zergling Infestor Corruptor composition, which was just too much in the end, transitioning into Broodlords. But what are we going to see in Game 3? Well, I expect to see some epicness, some awesomeness, some extravagance, and lots of units dying, and one person winning the series, because it all comes down to this. Revival, he is mining like mad at the moment. CuteZerg, he is scouting like mad at the moment. And so far in both games we've seen Revival go for a 14 pull rather than a 15 pull. It's not a huge difference. He then gets his third base, because CuteZerg does like blocking the natural. He likes it so much that he seems to do it every single time. The pull there going down, it was at 15. So that is a bit of a switch up already. CuteZerg Game 1 went Forge first, Game 2 went Nexus first, Game 3 I'm predicting a Nexus first. So that is all fine. I'm cheating a little bit by my prediction because he's got 300 minerals, which, wink wink nudge nudge, generally means they're going to go Nexus first. Generally. And this probe is a bit of a giveaway of that as well. So, anyway, there comes down the next. We should see a Forge, then a Gateway fairly soon afterwards. We've got the Natural. Now, actually at the Natural for Revival, this probe was not doing his one true job, which was, of course, blocking it. And now, well, Revival, he's going to take his expansion. He sees the timing of the Forge. He knows it's fine. He's going to take his own third base, most likely in about the next minute, minute and a half. And from there, it will all go into full macro mode, where we will see lots of probes and lots of drones, and not much else. Probing and droning. Oh. Guys, we may not just see probing and droning. Do you see this, guys? Do you? I see that. You know who else sees that? Revival. He was like, I scouted what you did there. I saw you. And so we're not going to see anything but probing and droning. Which is a shame, because I was secretly absolutely dying to see that come down and a cannon rush to go down a Revival to see how you deal with it, because that would have just been funny, because it's something so simple yet so effective potentially. Now we've got the Gas 1 and 2 coming down for CuteZerg. The Overlord is scouting that indeed Gas 1 and 2 are on their way down. The Natural is down as well. The third base for Revival just hits 4 minutes 25, so not too late, not too early, just on the dot, and that's fine. This pylon is still taking quite a beating. This one Zergling has definitely earned himself a Christmas bonus from getting that. Do Zerglings even have Christmas bonuses? I'm not sure, but that one should get one. It should set a precedent for all future Zerglings. The Overlord just happily sitting up here being like, I can see you're building a spawning pool. I can see you're building a cybernetics core, rather, and I can see that you're mining gas and producing probes, which is great, invaluable scouting information, because there is no way that a Grandmaster level player could expect that a cybercore was being produced at this moment in the game. But more likely, it's here just to see what comes out next, whether the robotic facility comes down, whether this Forge starts upgrading by using this Overlord on the high ground. It's essentially all that's required to know at this stage. Revival, though, he's diligently checking to make sure there's no pylons anywhere near his third base, or at least within this area of his third base. The Overlord also going to go and take a little check, because if CuteZerg was willing to put a single pylon up there, he's willing to put a single pylon anywhere. The first 2 gas now for Revival, bang on 45 supply-ish, so that's fine. We do have the Chrono Boost coming out, the Overlord getting out of there because the Stalker is en route. We do have now the third gas for CuteZerg, who in both of these games, Game 1 and 2 so far, has taken a very, very quick third. So we'll wait and see if he does that, or instead chooses to go for mass Stargate pressure. This is an interesting map for Stargate, because you can come into the Natural from this area. The third base is slightly exposed with a bit of dead space around the back, but it's this arch and cliff area where you can jump up and down from the third and main quite simply that really is the optimal area to attack in my opinion, if you're not going to go for the Natural. So CuteZerg most likely going to grab out a couple of Phoenix, just do a little bit of harassment. If we remember in game 1 and 2, Revival doesn't actually get his evolution chamber down very quickly at all, instead choosing to get a Roach Run sooner to get a good number of Roach Ling out. The downside of going Stargate is always the risk of, what if my opponent just comes and kills me? That is something that can be very, very dangerous indeed. So we should see a good defensive force get built up, and it's gonna get scouted. Did it get scouted? Ooh, ooh. No. It did not see the Stargate. That is the important thing. I was completely misclicking my hotkeys there, but no. No scout down there. No scout down on these additional gateways. So, from what Revival has seen, he knows of nothing. He's checking around the back here, just trying to work out, hang on, I know you've built something. So where have you built it, and how is it going to kill me? Because if he knows how it's going to kill him, he can try and defend against it. Here comes down the evolution chamber, so he should see some spore coolers. Because generally, if you don't see anything, 9 times out of 10 it's because your opponent is trying to hide something. Unfortunately, it's very rarely that they just forgot to build their key tech structures. The Overlord coming in and being like, oh, for goodness sake, I've sacrificed 2 Overlords now, and I still have no clue what you're doing. Is it going to be DTs? Is it going to be air? Those are the 2 main things I would be thinking about in this situation. DTs or air are the most likely. The single pylon is going to get spotted. Now, the first spore crawler on its way down. The second spore crawler, we should see some spore crawlers down here. There we go, spore crawlers. Spore crawlers everywhere, because you know it's going to be DT or air. So, may as well just chuck down a whole ton of detection and anti-air, and then you'll be fine. The Phoenix as well may have actually got spotted earlier, to be fair. I don't know, I was too busy watching what Revival was doing. The Overlord gets taken down now. And really, it's a pretty easy defend for Revival, because these spore crawlers give more than enough coverage with the Queen there as well. He's going to be absolutely fine. You can see the amount of damage he's going to be able to output to these Phoenix. The Phoenix could try and arch around, trying to find some other ways to get in. The all bases with 2 spore crawlers though are going to be so safe. It's insane. And being just Phoenix, they can't attack ground units, so I'm going to have too much fun. The Overlords trying to get back quickly behind the safety of the spore crawlers. Hydra's on their way out. The Hydra range upgrade getting researched, because ultimately, if you know your opponent has only got air and gateway units, a quick flood of Hydras can be really, really strong. So it's clever in CuteZerg's part to be taking that robotics bay in order to get up the Colossus, in order to deal that good high damage splash to Hydras, which are inevitably very, very squishy, but they're not going to be hitting for quite a long time, and as a result it gives Revival a nice little window of attack that he may choose to utilize later on. So as we can see, +1 missile attack on its way down. We've got good income for Revival at the moment. He's sitting there at 70 workers to the 50 of CuteZerg, who now is taking his 3rd base, and this is the only sensible thing you can do now, is take the 3rd. But Revival already has his 4th up. This Phoenix is going to try and get a kill on a Queen, and does manage to do so before the Hydras come in, but of course the Hydras now revealed. We have the Spire coming down, because if you've made Hydras, your opponent scouted the Hydras, they're usually going to go up to Colossi, so you then get your Spire ready to get Corruptors. And ultimately, Roach Hydra Corruptor is surprisingly strong against a lot of stuff, so this could be a really powerful build from Revival. We'll wait and see if it does even get to that stage, because he is already applying pressure with purely the Roaches and the Hydras, and without any Colossus on the field, the first one a good 40 seconds away already. It could become exceptionally difficult for CuteZerg to defend should Revival choose to go for the Phoenix. Are getting moved away for a second there. I was worried they were just going to sit there and CuteZerg wouldn't have noticed, but it's fine. More drones are coming out, up to 76 now, the 4th base up, the 7th, 8th gas on their way. Some Zerglings sneaking through, 2 photon cannons spotted. Those Phoenix do have to be careful though. You can't fly Phoenix over Hydras, you just die. Anyway, we do have more gateways on their way down. We have this Hydra Roachling force coming down. We've got Corruptors coming out, ready to deal with the Colossus. So now that Colossus is on the field, Revival, I very much doubt will push before the Corruptors hit, because it would just be pretty much suicide. You don't have enough damage output to deal with those quickly. So that is why we're seeing those. Meanwhile, everything really just coming together nicely. No additional upgrades yet for Revival, but he's just spending all of his money on units. He's pushing up, trying to try and take out these rocks, get a bit of a better arc of attack, less of a choke. There's a small gap in that wall off, so that's something you've got to be careful of, because big Zergling run-bys could cause problems later on if it does go to the late game. But Revival is pretty much in the best position he could hope for. He's at 200 of 200, he's got a good number of Corruptors ready to deal with everything. Those Phoenix already starting to take some nasty damage, and well, there is the one Colossus, the second one on its way over, but since they're both not there at the same time, it could cause some problems. Some great force fields go down though. these Colossus are taking huge amounts of damage straight away, preventing them from engaging cost effectively, or even engaging at all for the moment. The Roach Hydras are now going to be completely free to walk in and really steamroll through this gateway only force. Huge numbers of roaches in production behind this as well. The force fields are as good as you could ever hope for, but the Hydras, of course, with the range doing great amounts of damage. The roaches pulling back. The force fields now coming to an end. No additional energy for more as far as I can see, and so suddenly we've now got Roach Hydra against a Gateway Immortal force, and the winner of that is always going to be the Roach Hydra, just because the Hydras can deal so much damage. The Immortals get shredded by the Hydralisks, and as we can see, this reinforcing Roaches is going to force the GG out of CuteZerg, who put up a good fight, but Revival takes the series 2-0. And remember everyone, if you enjoy the video, like it, leave a cool comment, and subscribe. I will catch you all tomorrow for yet another new cast. Thank you very much for watching, and bye for now.